I was just going to ignore this alien update here because it's so outrageous that it actually is insulting that people believe it. Because if you look beyond the headline for just 2 sentences, you only need 2 sentences worth of work, you will realize that this is the most stupid, dumb fanfic that has been written since Tumblr was popular about giants who built pyramids on Mars. This has gained some traction because a CIA document was declassified that talked about this experiment. If you can even call it an experiment, it feels more like everyone at the CIA headquarters was on PCP and just journaling their experience. It's about as much of an experiment as me putting my finger in my butt and seeing if it smells bad. Their method for reaching this conclusion, if you can even call it that, that's a loosey-goosey usage of the word conclusion, was they induced an altered state of consciousness through sound frequencies that split a person's spirit from their body, and they astral projected them 1,000,000 years before humanity onto Mars, where they claim they saw giants building pyramids. That is the actual intelligence gathering method the CIA used to crack the mystery of Mars. It's about as reliable as me saying I had a dream about giants building pyramids on Mars, thus it must be true. Like, whoever came up with this was watching way too much Doctor Who at the time. So it was stated in one of the CIA projects, Stargate, in the report, Exploration of Mars, May 22nd, 1984. Literally 1984, holy shit. However, the sensational data was obtained in extremely dubious ways, according to British Daily Mail. By the way, the Daily Mail is like the main source that all of this comes from. I can't believe Daily Mail has made such a fucking comeback as a tabloid. It's unbelievable. But anyway, so what happened is, the agency recruited people who claimed to have psychic abilities. Well, that sounds trustworthy. People claiming to be psychics. Surely nobody lied about their psychic abilities. They fucking recruited Mob Psycho out here. Then they included binaural rhythms, simultaneous listening to sounds at different frequencies, and semi-synchronized audio to induce altered state of consciousness, separate the spirit from body, and send it traveling through the astral. It's a fucking anime plot. Like, this is something you'd see from, like, a garbage tier anime of just mumbo jumbo. But this is something the CIA apparently actually did. And according to one of the psychic subjects, they got sent to Mars 1,000,000 years before our era and found out Mars had pyramids similar to the Egyptian ones, but then the giants had to look for a new place to live because their environment was spoiled. Well, that settles it. I always knew that that's what was going on with Mars. And thankfully now we have irrefutable proof. Because one guy said so. He said he went 1,000,000 years before our era. Let's just play with that for a minute. How would you know that? Let's say he actually did somehow fucking astral project because he listened to Led Zeppelin backwards or whatever the CIA was pumping through those headphones. And he goes 1,000,000 years back to the past, like Samurai Jack here, on Mars. How would he know he's 1,000,000 years before humanity? How would he know that? Did they have a calendar on Mars that he was able to check? Then he could put it against the start of humanity and check like, oh, well, the upcoming patch notes for humanity aren't for 1,000,000 more years. Oh my god, I'm 1,000,000 years before humanity. Like, how in the world would he have possibly had any available information to deduce that he is 1,000,000 years before humanity on Mars? Like, how would he even know he's on Mars? It could be any other planet in the fucking universe. Was there like a welcome to Mars sign that he entered like through the fucking pearly gates or something? Like, how anyone could have actually conducted this experiment and thought there was any valuable information from it is beyond me. It makes me so mad, actually. Like, at this point, people will just believe anything at all. Not to go off on too big of a tangent, but it somehow flat earth always comes up because I think it's just the shining example of people just wanting to believe something because they want to, and no matter what you do, you can't convince them otherwise. No matter how many times flat earthers prove themselves wrong, they still just wipe their ass with it and don't care. There was just another one done called The Final Experiment, where a bunch of flat earthers were talking about how there could be no 24-hour sun because the earth is flat and it doesn't fit into that model. Well, The Final Experiment brought those flat earthers out, and they, with their own fucking peepers, confirmed that, yep, there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And then instead of just accepting that and being like, I guess we were wrong about flat earth, some of them were saying like, well, doesn't mean that we're wrong about flat earth. Now we just need to figure out how a 24-hour sun works with a flat earth model. So no matter how many times you have overwhelming evidence to suggest something is wrong or can't be true, people will still just believe in it because. And what do you do about that? Nothing. You can do nothing about that. And to tie that into the giant pyramid building Martians, there are people that are now running with this and saying, like, finally, the CIA has confirmed what we always knew to be true about alien life and Mars and pyramids. And if you just look at how that data, if you can call it data, was collected, you should be able to realize that it's a load of hooey. It's fucking baloney. Project Stargate was meant to be a weapon against the Soviet Union that aimed to basically create psychers from Warhammer 40k. I'm sure all of you know by now some of the torturous experiments the CIA performed on people. I also imagine the psychics that signed up for this program were probably also treated like shit by the CIA just because the CIA has a history of doing some absolutely inhumane tests on people. So I think there's a chance that the psychics in here also had that kind of mistreatment, which is a terrible thing. Project Stargate was shut down in 1995, and then leading up to its closure was Mars Exploration, May 22nd, 1984, which is a document that was declassified in 2017, but only recently resurfaced. And it kind of goes over the entire kit and caboodle of how they even came to this Mars giant theory. Basically, it boils down to a bit of an interview where the subject is just saying things. He's just kind of talking about some stuff that he's imagining. So, like, the administrator asks him to focus his attention on 40.89 degrees north and 9.55 degrees west. And the subject responds, sort of looks like, kind of got an oblique view of a pyramid, or pyramid form. And this kind of dialogue goes back and forth for a while and concludes with the subject saying that the people there are looking for a way to survive, but they just can't because their environment is full of corruption. The subject claims to have even spoken with one of the people who told them that the group had left in what looks like the inside of a larger boat. Maybe some kind of ark, perchance, drawing inspiration from the Bible on Mars maybe, who knows? Also, how would one of the people have spoken to the person that astral projected there? You're telling me that the ancient giant Martians saw a fucking Force ghost pop in there like Obi-Wan Kenobi and they just started like trauma dumping to the astral projection? Really? Like, hey, far be it from me to question the wisdom of the Martians, I suppose. The administrator keeps pressing the subject to go further until eventually, bringing him back to 1984. And that's where all of this comes from. That is the declassified CIA document about life on Mars that some people are now taking as the gospel. That this has confirmed alien life on Mars at one point. It's just sad. Please, just do yourself a favor. Read it, and then actually just like marinate on it for a second and ask yourself, is this a reliable way of gathering data? Does this really prove alien life on Mars? Because if the answer to that question is yes, you need to take a hard look in the mirror. Like, it's crazy. What if I told you there's life on Pluto right now? You can't really prove me wrong, per se. You haven't been there yourself. But why would you just blindly take that at face value? Like, I have no real evidence to prove there's life on Pluto. Neither did the CIA experiment here. So why believe in it? Why not wait until there's some actual substantiated evidence about these kind of things? There's no reason to marry yourself to this kind of belief based on an absolute nothing burger. You don't have to do that. You can just say like, oh, that was an interesting read, but I'm not convinced yet. I'll wait. But it's food for thought. Nothing wrong with that. I just don't understand how people just like fucking cannonball into the deep end here for these kind of things. Read past the headline. Just read past the headline on that. And I really think it should have been obvious that this is not real. So anyway, that's the most recent alien update. That's about it. See ya.